Morning again, everyone. Thank you, Bill, and thank you, Cassie, for inviting me to speak. For those of you who don't know me, we did see some new people today. I'm Hugh Cattermole. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Jewish Care. But in this context, I'm also a man of Jewish Care, and I am a proud member of a recent group that's been formed of men in Jewish Care who are looking to drive a culture of gender equity and the prevention of violence against women within this organisation, within the community and within our broader society. I'm here to talk about the issue today because it's a men's issue, and that's why it's important that we have a men's group, and that's why it's important that a man is presenting this. It is a men's issue and it's a man's responsibility to fix it. We've been provided with an infographic about some fairly horrific statistics, but there's a couple that I want to call out that really strike me, which is that 1 in 3 women will experience physical or sexual violence at some point in their lifetime, and distressingly 1 Australian woman will die by the hand of a current or former partner every week. I'm the father of a young daughter and this horrifies me. But why this statistic horrifies me even more is I'm the father of a young son. And as much as I want my daughter to be safe, I don't want my son to be a perpetrator. I don't want my son to do that. Cassie asked me to reflect when she asked me to speak today. She asked me to reflect on my motivations for this cause. And I have been inspired by the efforts of Cassie and Marilyn and the team to bring violence, the awareness of violence to this organisation. I'm very proud that in our recent EBA, the last EBA, family violence leave was included. Following the introduction to the cause, I have volunteered several times with the White Ribbon organisation, which is who we're acknowledging we're not acknowledging them now, who we're acknowledging today. And it's really distressing that my eyes have been really opened. I've done some volunteering events across the socio-economic divide of Melbourne. And I'm fed up and sickened with some of the responses you get. You approach a man to say, I'd like to talk to you about family violence today at a White Ribbon event, and this is not a word of a lie. I had one guy who had his arm around what you must presume is his partner. He raised his fist and he said, you mean when I do this? And then he tapped her on the chin with the back of his hand. I had another guy who was walking along with who I can only assume is his daughter. And I said, I'd like to talk to you about the male issue of family violence and violence against women. His response while his daughter was there is, well, if she'd listened the first time, and he kept walking. These are horrific, and I refuse to allow my children to grow up in that environment. You might be sitting here today, particularly the men, and all mothers of boys, saying, well, that's not me. My men don't do these things. I don't do these things. I don't perpetrate family violence, and that's great. I support that. But it's not enough, and I ask you to really think about whether, as a man, you do perpetuate family violence or not. It's not enough to simply not be a perpetrator. The culture that exists in our society that normalises, condones, and even encourages disrespectful and sexist attitudes towards women is one that men have created. Men have endorsed, and men continue to reinforce. Too often it's easy to frame family violence or violence against women as a women's issue. She shouldn't have dressed like that, she shouldn't have drunk too much, she provoked him. That distracts from the real issue. It shouldn't happen in the first place. It shouldn't be like that. This is a male problem. This is a men's issue. We are the ones who must drive the change because we are the perpetrators and the perpetuators of violence against women. We are the ones who create gender inequality, and we are the ones who have fed it, and we are the ones who must starve it as well. I certainly don't mean to sound preachy or bang a fist, and I don't sit up or stand up here to know or dare suggest that it sounds easy. It is a profoundly uncomfortable issue, particularly for men to look at ourselves and reflect on the subtle and insidious ways that we contribute and indeed benefit from gender inequality and the submission of women. I know that myself, in being invited to speak about this by Cassie, I've had to confront over the past few weeks my contribution to gender inequality over my life. We had gender equity training and some senior leaders of the organisation recently, and it caused me to think. And even just this morning, a conversation that I was part of about a thing called a wife beater, which some of you might know is the blue chesty bonds. That language is inappropriate. And so it has caused me to reflect, and I ask that all the men here to reflect, because it is necessary. It is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. This isn't about demonising men. You know, some men are wonderful people. Most men are wonderful people. But it is about empowering men. It's about empowering men, and it's about empowering good men to stand up and speak out, which is what I'm here to do today. Not all men are violent, and that's very true, and that's very important. But more men need to reinforce that attitude. Not being violent isn't enough, though. We need to turn around. We need to say that yes, not all men are violent, but every single man can help make a difference. And again, I know it's not easy. I don't profess that it is. I've called some things out, and the names that you get in response for when you call an issue out is a whole other issue of equity and appropriate behaviour in social context. Some of the changes and some of the things I ask the men here to think about when they are in Jewish care, and when they go home, and when they're in the pub, is that they role model healthy, equitable and respectful relationships at home and work. I ask that men ensure that our sons don't grow up to see women less than. There is no need for demeaning comments or sexist comments. We need to teach our boys about consent, and we need to stop using sexist language or demeaning commentary. Certainly aspects that happen in a domestic situation or work there's no such thing as a women's work or men's work. The laundry with my son is one of the funnest times that I had, because we kick the socks around like a football and put undies on our head and make it fun. We can stop joking about violence against women, because it's not fun. And as I said before, we need not to be afraid to call it out when we say it. And it's not easy. You will get stick as a man. You will be told. Well, I won't even start to repeat what you might be told, but the important thing is that you do it, because you will make a difference. Most of all, we can refuse to be silent on this issue, and I'm proud that Jewish Care is refusing to be silent on this issue. I'm not going to be silent anymore, and I hope you won't either. Thank you.